Welcome to Newsbeacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The Florida sun rose over Mar-a-Lago, casting a golden glow over the sprawling estate. But beneath the tranquil beauty of the morning, a storm was brewing inside. Inside, Donald Trump was furious, his mood as dark as the clouds gathering on the horizon. The news he'd just received was not only unexpected but deeply personal. News had broken. Saudi Arabia had publicly rejected his administration's much-touted Freedom Energy Accord. The headlines flashed across every major network, echoing around the world and sending shockwaves through Washington. This wasn't just a policy setback. It was a personal blow to Trump's image as the ultimate dealmaker. For a man who prided himself on his ability to negotiate, the rejection stung deeply. The deal, meant to guarantee cheap oil for Americans in exchange for U.S. security and technology, was supposed to be his signature foreign policy win. It was designed to showcase American strength and ingenuity on the world stage, a testament to Trump's promise to put America first. Now the Saudis had rebuffed him, undermining his promise of stable gas prices and American energy dominance. The ripple effects were immediate. Gas prices began to climb and the markets reacted with uncertainty. Trump's aides stood by as he raged, realizing the implications were immediate and severe. The administration's credibility was on the line, and the staff could sense the gravity of the moment. The rejection wasn't just a diplomatic snub, it signaled a strategic shift. The world was watching, and America's influence was being openly challenged. Riyadh was making it clear. They were no longer bound to Washington, but open to new partnerships with China and Russia. The Saudis were signaling a new era, one where American interests were no longer their top priority. For Trump, who saw the world as a series of deals America should always win, this was a harsh reality check. The rules of the game had changed, and the old playbook no longer worked. The morning calm at Mar-a-Lago was shattered by the realization that the old rules no longer applied. Staff scrambled, phones rang off the hook, and the sense of control Trump once felt was slipping away. The world was moving on, and Trump's art of the deal had just failed on the global stage. Other leaders were quick to seize the moment, forging new alliances and leaving the U.S. on the sidelines. The administration faced a new, more complicated world order. Old alliances were fraying, and new power centers were emerging, challenging America's traditional dominance. The era of easy American dominance was over. A new chapter in global politics had begun, and the United States would have to navigate a world where its influence was no longer guaranteed. Saudi Arabia's move was no accident. As the central bank of oil, its decisions shaped global markets. The kingdom's rejection of the U.S. deal was a calculated assertion of independence. Officially, they cited strategic autonomy, but the real reason was a desire to diversify partnerships, especially with China, the world's top oil importer. The Saudis have grown wary of America's shifting political winds and want flexibility, not long-term commitments tied to any one U.S. president. Their Vision 2030 plan is about economic diversification and global leverage, not just oil. By saying no to Trump, they're signaling to the world that they won't be anyone's junior partner. The old bargain, Saudi oil for American security, is no longer automatic. Riyadh is now playing all sides, maximizing its own advantage. For the U.S., this is a wake-up call. The rules of the energy game have changed. America's privileged position is no longer guaranteed. Why does this matter? Why do headlines about oil make the world pause, and why do leaders scramble when oil prices spike or supplies are threatened? Oil is the backbone of the global economy. It's not just a commodity, it's the lifeblood that keeps industries running, economies growing, and societies moving forward. It powers vehicles on every continent, forms the basis of plastics that shape our daily lives, and is essential for growing and transporting food. From the gas in your car to the packaging on your groceries, oil touches nearly every product and service we rely on. Countries blessed with oil reserves wield enormous power on the world stage, while those without often find themselves at the mercy of global markets and political decisions made far from home. The global oil market is a delicate balance. Prices rise and fall with supply and demand, but also with geopolitics, natural disasters, and even rumors. These fluctuations ripple through economies, affecting everyone from governments to ordinary families. Even as a major producer, the U.S. can't escape global price shocks. American drivers feel it at the pump, and businesses feel it in their bottom lines. That's why, for decades, US presidents have made Middle East stability a top priority, because turmoil there can send shockwaves through the entire world economy. The Freedom Energy Accord was Trump's bold attempt to shield America from the chaos of global oil markets, aiming to secure a steady, reliable supply and insulate the country from sudden price hikes. But Saudi Arabia's rejection of the deal is a stark reminder: no nation, no matter how powerful, is immune to the unpredictable forces of global energy dynamics. Alliances and deals in the oil world are about more than just economics. They're about security, influence, and the ability to shape the future. The collapse of this deal exposes America's continued vulnerability, highlighting just how interconnected and fragile the system really is. Oil connects us all, forming a vast, invisible web. When that flow is threatened, the impact isn't just local, it's global, affecting markets, jobs, and daily life everywhere. The US must now face the reality of a world where energy security can't be taken for granted, and where new strategies are urgently needed. The consequences of these events will ripple far beyond Washington, shaping the future of economies, alliances, and the daily lives of people around the globe. When you fill up your tank, you're not just paying for fuel. You're paying for a complex web of global politics. The price at the pump is shaped by far more than just supply and demand. Every dollar you spend is influenced by international alliances, rivalries, and power plays that stretch across continents. For decades, the US-Saudi relationship acted as a stabilizing force in the oil market. The deal was simple. Oil flowed to America, and in return, Saudi Arabia received security guarantees. This arrangement kept oil prices relatively stable, benefiting both nations and, by extension, much of the world. When Donald Trump took office, he aimed to formalize this partnership even further. His administration wanted America to become the kingdom's top customer, hoping to secure favorable prices and cement US influence in the region. But Saudi Arabia had other ideas. Their rejection of this plan sent shockwaves through global markets, signaling that they were no longer willing to play the role of America's junior partner. Instead, the Saudis are now actively balancing their relationships with China and Russia, positioning themselves as an independent power broker in the energy world. This shift marks a dramatic change in the global order. For China, this is a strategic victory. Now Chinese companies can compete for Saudi oil on equal footing with the US, giving Beijing more influence over global energy flows and prices. The result? America's leverage in the global energy market has taken a significant hit, leaving US policymakers scrambling to adapt. The Trump administration suddenly found itself forced to rethink its entire Middle East strategy, as old assumptions about Saudi loyalty no longer held true. If the US tries to pressure the Saudis, they risk pushing them even closer to Beijing and Moscow, further eroding American influence in the region. But if Washington ignores these shifting alliances, it could mean even more price volatility at home, with American consumers feeling the pain at the pump. Just one no from Riyadh has thrown global energy politics into disarray, leaving markets and governments scrambling to adjust. Today, the price of gas is more than just a number. It's a symbol of America's diminished influence on the world stage, and a reminder of how interconnected our economies truly are. The world's energy chessboard just got a lot more complicated, and every move now matters more than ever. Trump's America First energy doctrine aimed for US dominance, energy independence, leverage, and control. The shale revolution made America a top producer, but global oil prices are set by the world market, not just US output. The Saudi deal was supposed to crown this doctrine, but its rejection exposes a flaw. America can't dictate global prices alone. True dominance isn't just about production, it's about shaping the system. Trump's transactional approach underestimated the complexity of global energy politics. Saudi Arabia's move was about more than the US, it was about China, India, and Europe too. By focusing narrowly on America first, Trump missed the bigger picture. The result? The US looks isolated, not dominant. The world's energy web is too complex for one-sided deals. Even the strongest nation can't bend the market to its will. For Trump, this isn't just policy, it's personal. His brand is built on being the master dealmaker, the man who always wins. The Saudis' public rejection is a direct blow to that image. Political opponents now have an easy attack. The great dealmaker failed. Even his supporters may feel uneasy. If Trump can't close the deal, is he really in control? Inside his administration, doubts will grow about his high-stakes personal approach. Expect Trump to lash out, blaming the Saudis, his advisors, or the media. He may try to punish Riyadh, but that could backfire. The fallout is unpredictable, driven as much by wounded pride as strategy. This is more than geopolitics. It's a public test of Trump's core identity. The impact of Saudi Arabia's decision will hit Americans where it hurts, the gas pump. Without a special deal, U.S. consumers are exposed to global price swings. Uncertainty alone can drive prices up. Oil traders hate instability. If the Saudis cut production, prices could spike even more. Higher oil costs ripple through the economy. Groceries, flights, manufacturing, all get more expensive. This is classic inflation, and it's politically toxic. Trump wanted to promise voters protection from these shocks. Now, he faces the opposite. Rising prices become a weapon for his opponents. The link between foreign policy and everyday costs is suddenly clear to every voter. The failed deal is now both a diplomatic and economic liability. Saudi Arabia's rejection marks a new era in global energy politics. The old US-led order is gone. The board is now multipolar. China, the world's biggest oil importer, is building deep ties with producers, offering investment without political strings. For Saudi Arabia, China's approach is attractive: money and markets, no lectures. Russia, through OPEC+, also wields influence, coordinating with Riyadh to manage prices. The US can no longer rely on old alliances or dominance. Competing with China and navigating OPEC+ requires a new multilateral strategy. America First, with its focus on bilateral deals, looks outdated. The US must adapt or risk being sidelined on the world stage. The energy chessboard is more crowded and the stakes are higher than ever. The fallout from Saudi Arabia's rejection is a test for Trump and the nation. Will he retaliate, risking a deeper rift and higher prices, or seek a diplomatic reset? The choice will shape US-Saudi relations for years. For America, this is a wake-up call. Over-reliance on global oil is a strategic vulnerability. The moment could spark a push for renewables and true energy independence. The unipolar era is over. The world is now a contest of competing powers. America must navigate this new reality with strength and strategy. The Saudi move is about more than oil. It's about shifting global power. How the US responds will define its place in the new world order. The stakes have never been clearer or higher.